Hey guys, it's Drac. Thanks for tuning in to Undead Archery. Today we're going to be making this bow better. This is a PSE snake. It's a fiberglass recurve. It pulls to 20 pounds at 28 inches of draw, which makes it a very easy beginner's bow. It also means it's very inexpensive. Because of that, the handle is cheap and the rests are cheap and they aren't very comfortable now. This is the bow that the Draculina uses most of the time when we shoot together, so just for fun, I wonder what that's like. I'm going to be modifying it for her, and she shoots southpaw, so let's see if I can even fire left-handed. Not very well, but the plan is I'm going to go in and show you how to make this bow much nicer in terms of its overall comfort and ergonomics. So without any more talking about it, I'm going to stop shooting left-handed. Let's get to work on that. It should be a lot of fun and a really neat project. I don't see a lot of people modifying bows off the shelf, so this should be cool. So the first step to this modification is going to be de-stringing your bow. Well, I don't believe that this is necessary. It's going to remove all of the tension from the system and make the entire system much easier to work with. The only materials that I feel like you're going to need are some epoxy putty and some leather, and I just wanted to speak to both of those points really quickly. This is standard PC11. It's not expensive. Epoxy putty is just great stuff. It's basically a two-part compound that mixes together into an almost stone-like system. So it turns from like Play-Doh into stone, and then it sets, and you can paint it and do anything that you want to it. Now, the second thing that you're going to need for this modification is some leather. Now, this is black leather, and if you were to buy something like this at your local hobby store, it would be very expensive. I cannot stress enough, do not buy leather at Hobby Lobby or any sort of fabric store. Your best bet is to go to Goodwill. They'll have a jacket section, and all you have to do is find a leather jacket at Goodwill, tear out the lining, and you get pretty decent quality leather for $4 for an entire jacket, which is probably somewhere around 10 square feet for a normal size jacket. I have no idea if that factor is correct or not, but I know I get a lot of leather every time I go and buy some jacket. It's also soft and already tanned, and you just don't have to worry about getting the wrong stuff. So without any more talking about it, I'm going to cut leather to shape for this handle, and then I'm going to start working on a shelf on this left-hand side. I'm going to try and make it so that she can shoot this bow similar to how I fire my Sage. So I've decided to make the handle first and cut it. This is a leather punch. It's a rotary modular kind of leather punch. They're not very expensive, and you'll use it a lot if you do any leather work. So they're a decent investment. And then this is some leather thong or leather cord, which will just match nicely. Now, to pattern out my handle, all I did was rotate the bow handle along a piece of leather, marking on the back end of it with a Crayola. You could use a Sharpie, you could use whatever you really wanted to. It's not going to show up. You could use a fabric pen even if you wanted. Now I'm going to cut here, here, and here. Keep in mind kind of where I want to be folding. I'm going to then make punches so that I can lace it up in the back. After that, I'm going to not install it, and we'll get to work on the shelf. So after molding the shelf, I came in and used water to smooth down this epoxy putty, and then I let that cure for a full 48 hours so that it is rock solid. I'm going to come in and vinyl dye it, and I'm going to kind of fade that vinyl dye off into these arms. So it should look pretty decent. I have no idea how nice it's going to look, but I know that once I cover this portion with leather, it'll look way better overall. So the vinyl dye has done its job, and I have to admit it did excellent work. The blending of the black vinyl dye into the original black polycarbonate is very nice. So this is a very smooth transition, and it actually thickened up the handle just a little bit, which is kind of nice. But the transition is really smooth. There's a slight variation in texture, but color-wise I can't tell much of a difference, and I think that that's really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the leather wrap, and then this should be ready for her to fire. Alright guys, so this is it. This is the finished modification to the Snake by PSE Archery. You can see that this leather wrapped handle has a little bit of an angle to it, but overall it's much more comfortable. I think it's a lot nicer. And the shelf I've put a few practice shots through, but the issue for the video being that I can't actually shoot left-handed. I just don't possess the wherewithal to shoot ambidextrously. So I think that the shelf is good, but luckily I brought the Draculina, who is left-handed, which is the reason that we did it this way. I'm going to trade her, and we'll see how it works. works.
I can't. Please save my life.
There you go. So it looks pretty comfortable. How do you feel about it?
I like it. I like that the shelf allows me to hold the arrows really well.
Is it
It's
more
really
comfortable?
comfy. It's
Awesome.
a lot comfier.
That is exactly the desired goal. Well, there we have it. That's the final modification segment for the PSE Snake. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.